Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kristen and thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you want to subscribe, please hit that subscribe button right down below. I'd really appreciate it. But let's get right into the video. So if you haven't read the title, I'm going to talk about plastic things I still consume and still have. So I am not perfectly zero waste, and honestly, I don't think anyone is, because zero waste means you're literally creating no waste. So you would never be using fossil fuels, you would never be taking any sort of transportation besides walking and biking, which I think a lot of people use a car, a bus, a plane at some point in their lives. So that's just one thing to think of. So yes, zero waste is a lifestyle and a mindset, and it's so good for the planet. But I think a lot of people get stuck on the idea of, I literally need to create zero waste. And I know from personal experience, it literally stresses me out because I feel like a bad person if I'm like buying something in plastic. Or I went to the doctor a month or two back, and I got like a band-aid and a wrap around my arm when they took my blood test, and like I'm creating waste. But there are things in life that you cannot escape from. You're going to be creating waste, and that's just the world we live in. But if you can create the smallest amount of waste you can, I think that's so important. And if you watch Sustainably Vegan, her channel is awesome, and she talks about the low impact movement, and I think that's a really good mindset to have, because zero waste is very much really hard to attain for a lot of people. And in some communities there are grocery stores that literally have no bulk bins, and like, what are you supposed to do in that situation? Like, just feel like a failure? No, it's about doing your best in the climate, in the circumstances, in the situations you have. And let's talk about maple syrup, for example. For me, buying bulk maple syrup is at least double the price of buying the big jug at Costco. So I still buy maple syrup from Costco. So it's just about doing the best you can do. And there's another channel called Shellbizzle. I love her channel as well, and she also talks about how like she's really stressed about creating zero waste. And girl, if you're watching this, you probably aren't, because you're incredible and awesome, but I feel you 110,000%. So here we go, let's get into it. I'm gonna show you. So I have a plastic reusable bag. I'm just gonna keep reusing it. If you haven't purchased reusable bags yet, you should totally get on that bandwagon. It is so good for the environment, and I know a lot of cities and towns and states are making plastic bags banned, and you either have to pay a lot for them or they just don't provide them anymore. And honestly, it's way better for the environment. Obviously, if you clicked on this video, you are probably aware of that. But I also have a video about like different types of reusable grocery bags, so you can click up there. But I got this from my mom. She had a ton of reusable bags. She was like, hey, if you want any, just let me know. And yeah, so instead of buying new, I got that from her. But buy the cotton ones if you can. And then you can wash the cotton ones, whereas these you like can't really wash. Moving on. I got my blender, my Vitamix. I love this thing to death. I use it all the time. I love making smoothies. You can make peanut butter, hummus, whatever the heck you want with this thing. And it's plastic, and I did buy it new, but I spent a lot of money on this because I know it's gonna last a lot longer than other blenders. I had a blender in college that my roommates used, and it started smoking at one point, and it just stopped working for some people, and maybe it was because I was letting other people use it, I don't know what, but it didn't last very long. So long story short, I highly recommend putting in a little more money, if you can afford it, into good quality items that are going to last a lot longer for you. So that's why I have that guy. My water bottle. This guy is plastic, the little cap. It's a hydro flask, and I love this thing to death. It's gonna last me so long. It keeps your water cold. It has some insulation on the inside, so it'll keep things cold or it'll keep things hot for hours and hours and hours, and it's gonna last me a long time. But this guy is plastic. It's not gonna last forever, but it will last a while. Now, if you haven't purchased a reusable water bottle yet, oh my gosh, please do it. Plastic water bottles are a rip-off. Unless you have no way of getting some sort of filtered clean water, which, like, I know there are even areas in the US that you don't have clean water. It is ridiculous, and the government needs to get on that. But anyways, if you have a way of getting to clean, filtered water, get a reusable water bottle. Yes, you're paying up front for the water bottle, but if you have been buying plastic water bottles for years and years and years, you have spent way more money on those plastic water bottles than just buying this guy. And I recommend buying something that you know is good quality and is going to last. I know Clean Canteen has a water bottle that I believe is just stainless steel, and then I think it has like a little bamboo top. Like just the very, like this part of it is just bamboo, and then the rest is just stainless steel. So that is a great plastic-free water bottle option. And I buy my vegan products. Now keep in mind, I don't buy these all the time, and for Plastic-Free July, I'm going to really try to not buy any processed vegan foods. And overall, I've noticed I don't feel that good when I eat a lot of those, just because it's processed food, and like right now my body is just like craving fresh fruits and produce and like rice and beans and all that jazz, whole plant-based foods. But I love Follow Your Heart. It's a great vegan brand. I love their ranch dressing. Oh my god, it's so good. And then one time I bought the reduced fat, and it was not as good as the regular. So do that. But it does have a plastic cap. But the bottle is glass, and I think I will fill it up with bulk olive oil or something along those lines. So I highly recommend it. But it does have the plastic cap. And then my vitamins, they do come in a glass jar, but they also have a plastic lid on it. So is that plastic free? Obviously not. But I need to take my vitamins to make sure I am getting all of my vitamins and nutrients and still maintaining my health. And then I have a whole set of these measuring cups, and I love them. I got them from my mom. She had an extra set, and instead of buying something brand new plastic free, I might as well just keep these. They are plastic, but they're already in the world, and I might as well use them. Same thing goes for these measuring spoons. I don't have them all right now because I just used some. But they are great because they're from my mom. She had an extra set, and I'm not buying new things, and I'm not creating new plastic. This was already in the world, so I'm keeping these. And these are like really old, you guys. Like, I remember having these when I was like a little kid in the kitchen watching my mom cook. Oh, and then my Snapware. If you haven't seen my last video about going blueberry picking, you should watch that up here. It's a vlog. So I used some of my Pyrex Snapware. So I have some berries in here, obviously, but this is glass, so that's really good, and that's why I bought it, because I was semi-plastic conscious when I purchased these a few years ago, but I didn't really know about like the stainless steel food containers, so I got this like huge set at Costco. So they're all glass, but then they have the plastic Snapware top. And my thing was, I'm not gonna like get rid of this, even though it is plastic, but mostly glass, because I feel like that's still wasteful. Like, people get this mindset when you go zero waste that you have to like get rid of every bit of plastic, and that's totally against what being zero waste is. Like, I look at like my grandparents and think about like their lives growing up, and they, like, I remember as a kid, my grandma gave me a hanky because I needed a Kleenex. And I was like, I don't know about that, because I was just used to using Kleenex and tissues that were disposable, and now I have my own handkerchief. And it's just like, and she, you know, my one grandma would have little margarine plastic containers and put food leftovers in it. And it's just like thinking about those times, and probably because she grew up like during the Great Depression and like a little after, like, look at your grandparents or your great-grandparents, because they usually are a lot more sustainable than people around you, and they, you know, they learn to use everything they have and to not be wasteful. So, sorry, I got into a tangent, but I'm not just gonna get rid of these, basically, and I'm gonna keep them and keep using them because they're great, they're in perfect condition, and I don't need to buy something new. So that's my deal with that. This is a big plastic thing, is my protein powder. Now, I honestly don't use a lot of this. Paul, if you haven't seen Paul in my other videos, he uses a lot of the protein powder. I think I paid for half and he paid for the other half, or he paid for the majority of it, because he goes through this like crazy. He uses a lot of this, and I'll just put like half a scoop into my overnight oats sometimes, but it is a source of plastic. And yeah, it's in bulk. It's this big guy from Costco, so instead of like buying like the small jars, I've seen them at like Target, they have this huge thing at Costco, so it takes me a long time to get through this, but it's nice to have that extra little scoop of protein every once in a while. And yes, I'm vegan and I get plenty of protein, but it's still nice to have every once in a while. So not everyone has access to plastic-free things, and that's okay. If you need to buy something in plastic, try to buy it in bulk. I have a Birkenstock video up. I'll have a link to that. I got those before I was vegan. I have this cork sealer that's in plastic, but the cork sealer is going to allow me to extend the life of the Birkenstocks much, much longer in comparison to not putting cork sealer on the cork of the Birkenstocks. So it's about buying things that are going to help extend the lives of other things in your life. And if you can, minimize your things in general. Like, you do not need a lot of things, and I'm really starting to realize that. So, and I'm putting that into action. So if you have any plastic things, it's okay. I do buy some things in plastic, and every once in a while I do buy Gardein, or I do buy Field Roast, and those things do come in plastic. They're meat free, so I'm saving a whole lot of water and resources, but they still come in plastic, and I'm still creating waste. I'm still struggling with being completely zero waste, and sometimes I don't necessarily plan very well for my meals, and I end up resorting to those kind of more junky alternatives, vegan alternatives. And I don't know, I think sometimes you have to put things into perspective, and the world does not only depend on you being eco-friendly. Everyone else is also needing to be eco-friendly and helping the planet, and it's not all on your shoulders. Like, you need to do what's best for you, but you also need to stay healthy, and you also need to protect your mental health. And sometimes you just need that vegan chicken slider, or you need that vegan crabless cake, or you need the field roast corn dogs. Like, I get it. I totally get it. And for people that don't have access to a lot of bulk goods, that's okay. Try to buy things in paper, try to avoid plastic, and if you have to use plastic, buy it in bulk. But ultimately, if you're new to zero waste, or if you're new to reducing your waste in general, it's okay to keep your plastic. Keep reusing those things. I have an old thing of nutritional yeast, and when I go to the store to fill it up with bulk nutritional yeast, I use that same container. I just ripped off the label around it so people don't, charge me the wrong thing, but I fill it up with bulk nutritional yeast, and that's okay because I'm reusing the plastic. Do I wish I didn't have that plastic? Of course, but it's about taking those slow steps to fully progress into a more plastic-free lifestyle. So if you are new to this whole eco-friendly, low waste, zero waste, low impact, reduce your waste movement, you should look up what Plastic Free July is all about. Try being plastic free as much as possible. And what I'm trying to do is, of course, I'm using these plastic things in my life. However, I'm going to try to reduce my consumption of new plastic into my life. Keep in mind that not every plastic thing is recyclable, and even if it has a recyclable symbol on it, your local recycling that comes to your house might not necessarily collect that type of recycling, and programs like recycling programs sometimes start reducing recycling things because people don't separate their recycling or separate their trash correctly. So if you are creating plastic waste, be aware of what your local recycling program collects, and if you have to drive somewhere to actually recycle it, just be aware of that because people forget that. Not everything that has a recycling symbol can be recycled in your local community. So anyways, that's a really long video. I'm at 21 minutes and I have to cut that down. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing. If you haven't noticed, I'm super passionate about helping the earth around us and helping keep the planet clean and here for centuries and centuries to come, because there's only one planet. So I know I'm cheesy and I'm like a hippie goofball, but I'm sorry. Okay, so I will see you guys next time, and thank you again to my new subscribers for subscribing. I really appreciate it, and I will have new content coming to you guys soon. So I will see you next time. Bye!